Hey guys, Danny here, and today marks the start of a new adventure for me. To give you a little bit of backstory, I had a 1992 525 wagon, the silver wagon, the one that was in the last video when I did an intro of the shop. So that wagon had ended up getting sold, and I made a little bit of money on it, and I bought this car here because it was a good price, it was local, and it's red. I mean, I like red cars. It's a manual, it's a 1994 525 i5 speed. But for whatever reason, this car never quite felt right, even though it is really a nice car. It just never quite clicked, and I think it's just because I'm a wagon guy. I can't get away from wagons or tourings, estates, whatever you want to call them. Just the ability to have that extra space is amazing to me, and really needed to have it. So because of that, I was just kind of looking to sell this thing, maybe, move on to the next thing, and then a guy posts up looking for a trade offer for a black 530i wagon over in Texas. So I've been talking to this guy, and it sounds like the trade is on, so I'm getting ready to take this car over to Texas. We're meeting in El Paso tomorrow, and we'll exchange cars there. I'm keeping these wheels though, because these Throwing Star wheels are very expensive and rare, and they're actually my friend's wheels. I've been borrowing them just because this car came with some terrible wheels and tires, so I needed something. And so yeah, we'll swap the wheels. Anyways, let me show you a little around this car. Even though it's leaving, I thought you might be interested in seeing a nice, 94 E34 525i. It is in really nice condition. I'm gonna miss it a little bit, but I'm excited for the wagon and the plans that I have for the wagon. So this car here is from Oregon originally, and that's why it has most of its paint, but even then, the red paint is not, perfect. The clear coat started peeling a little on the trunk. It's not too bad, but Arizona would make it worse pretty fast. Did a little work to it. I fixed the fuel door, I fixed the window regulator, filters, maintenance, the normal stuff, thrust arms. But all in all, it's a super nice car. Interior's in really good shape. It's almost too nice for me, honestly, just because I am a mechanic and my cars do look gross after a while, but this one I've kept up with. It's fairly clean. The airbag dash is still fairly flat, which if you know E34s, you'll know is a problem with them. It's got a little dent there, but all in all, a really nice car. And also you could see the lift that I put up here. I'll give a more detailed tour of the new shop setup soon, but suffice it to say, I've been expanding a little and growing into the space. Got a lot of projects going on. Another M62 getting built. Surprise. So things are coming along pretty neatly. So the plan is that I'm going to leave town tomorrow around 6 a.m. My friend Brad will be coming along with me. I actually went on a road trip with him a little while back, a couple years back, to buy a white E39 wagon with him in Colorado. I'll put a picture of it here. Now, that was a good experience, so he's down to join me on this trip, and we're going to go out to El Paso and make this trade happen. So, the next shot you'll see me will probably be me in the morning at 6 a.m. hating my life because I hate being up that early, but you know what? For a cool car, a cool trade, it's always worth it. Alright, so we're on the road now, heading to El Paso. We've got my friend Brad here. Last time we did a big road trip to get a wagon, we were getting his wagon in Denver. It was a white 540i Touring. And now we're going to get another V8 wagon. So a little more about this wagon. It's a 1994 530i Touring. It's got 235,000 miles. They replaced the engine at 114,000 or 144,000 or so. So it's a decent engine. It's going to get swapped out eventually too, along with the manual transmission. But for now, it's an automatic, and we're going to be swapping these wheels too, just because we're keeping these wheels. And yeah, we've been on the road for about 2-3 hours now, and it's been a good drive so far. Car's doing well, getting great gas mileage. I put new control arms in it yesterday, thrust arms, lower control arms, sway bar end links, and it's doing good. So just turn the camera around for a little bit and get some footage of the drive, and next time you see it, we'll be picking up the wagon. All right, so we're here now in El Paso. Two E34s, probably the only two E34s in El Paso, but it's pretty sweet. Here's the wagon I'm trading for. 530i Touring. It's a 10-footer, but it's nice. It'll get the job done. Drives pretty good. Right now we're just swapping the wheels. Got to keep the M systems since I borrowed them from my friend. And yeah. Alright, so the wheels have been swapped, the papers have been signed over and everything. I actually forgot to get a video of it earlier. We've already been hitting the road and driving for a bit. We had lunch with the guy who we traded with. He was a super nice guy. Invited us out to Redwood, so we might come out to that later in February. Yeah, the car's doing like a champ, especially with these tires and wheels. It's driving real smooth at 80s. Seems to be getting great gas mileage. It's super filthy, as you could see. I don't know if you could see the sconge, but it's pretty dirty, so that'll be really satisfying to give it a really good detail. That'll probably be the next video. Looks good with the M systems, although eventually M-Pars are the plan. So from here on out, it's pretty much straight drive back home to Phoenix. Looking inside real quick. Interior's alright. It's got some wear and tear, but that's exactly what I wanted. Something that wasn't too perfect, something that I could beat up a little bit. Haul some engines in. Got all my tools in the back. And unlike my last wagon, the tailgate actually opens up electronically, which is really cool. Got all my stuff here, my jack, and tripod and whatnot. There's the dog nets there. This thing's pretty nice overall. It's not too nice, but it's nice enough. So I think this will be a nice little project. So here we are, we made it back to the shop in Phoenix. That was about 12 hours of driving, and I did most of the driving in about 3 hours of sleep, so definitely glad to be home. And the car made it back with zero issues at all. It just cruised at 80, 85, no problem. We had the radar detector going, so we were able to avoid all the, local rural county cops trying to make a quick buck. It's going to be hard to say what the paint is exactly like until I give this thing a really good detail, but you can tell the hood's been repainted. Not super well. Rattle can finish maybe. Bumper is definitely faded. The nose piece is Oxford green. It's just very dark, so it looks black. This fender has been replaced. This door is actually from a 1990 car. It's from a 535. So the door handle is a metal style instead of the later plastic style, and the door actuator doesn't work for the locks. So I'm gonna have to replace that with the later style to match them all up. At least these M systems look pretty good on it. Eventually I'm gonna put some M parallels on this, just like I do on all my cars. But all in all, not bad, not bad. It's super, super dirty in the back. It's got this real, honest Eastern European kind of dirt to it. It's a wagon, it does wagon things. And you can see over there on this rear door, there's a bunch of dents here. I'm wondering if some of that could be taken out with some PDR or whatnot. Now here under the hood is the real selling point of this whole wagon. It's a M60B30, so it's a 3-liter V8. Now these V8 powered E34 wagons are quite rare. They brought something like, 1,500 of these to the US in total. So they're pretty hard to find, and I've been looking for one for quite some time. And all of the ones I've driven locally were super trashed and destroyed. People really beat on these V8 cars. And this one's actually had the engine replaced about 90,000 miles ago, or I don't know, I'm bad at math. It was replaced at 144,000, the car is 236,000. So you do the math. So the engine's fairly fresh. It was because of the whole Nicosil thing. The engine is eventually going to get torn out and replaced with a 4-liter or a 4.4. But for now, that's not the highest priority. It runs pretty good. Doesn't really leak much. Well, much. The previous owner did a lot of work to it, to the intake manifold and whatnot. So it's not bad. Anyways, now we'll throw it on the lift and kind of see if there's any surprises hiding underneath for us. Alright, so now we've got the car up on the lift and we can kind of see what's going on underneath. And starting from the back, diff looks alright, not too seepy. It's a 323 ratio, not a 307 like I thought it would be. The boots on these axles have been replaced, looks like, at least based on the aftermarket hose clamps. And walking on down, here's the funniest thing I found. I was wondering why this thing smelled like the cats were bad. Well, turns out there aren't any cats at all here. This is where the cats would have been, right? This section of pipe. And you can see where it was just all booger welded on. That's probably where my exhaust leak's coming from, because I smell it inside the car. And from these little clamps back here. So, yeah, that'll need doing. Either I'm gonna have to put some cats in, or I'm just gonna have to register this thing out of county to avoid the whole emissions thing. Control arms here look relatively new. The previous owner did replace them. It's a little wet under here, as every M60 is. I mean, M60, M62, they all leak the same way. But all in all, not terrible. Not terrible at all. So, thankfully no nasty surprises under here. I kind of knew that the cats were either bad or just not there, so that wasn't really a surprise to me. Alright, so that about wraps up this episode. We went to Texas, we traded the red car for this car. This car made it home without any problems. It appears to be in pretty good shape. I think it's one of the highest mileage cars I've ever owned. It's got 236,000 miles as it sits right now, which is pretty cool. I'm into high mileage cars. It just means everything's been replaced like twice. In the next episode, we're going to be detailing this car, giving a real good wash, clay bar, maybe some polish, see how much of this paint we can bring back and make it look presentable, because right now it's not amazing. The roof is past saving. You can see the clear coat's already starting to fade there pretty badly. And then whoever did this roof job did a pretty poor job, because the paint is bubbling right there. A little bit of rust bubbling, which is kind of funny because this car spent a lot of its life in Texas. Doesn't have any rust anywhere else, just in those areas, so that'll have to be eventually sanded down and repainted. But all in all, I'm excited for it. It's going to be a fun project. I have a lot of plans for this thing. And yeah, if you want to see what happens to this, stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.